50 years ago, I just graduated from college, and I don't think I knew it at the time, but I'd always been into joining things and helping out things. In college, in my fraternity, I was treasurer and did a lot of things. After college, I was on the alumni council, so I was always into doing things. And after I graduated and got a job, something sparked that before I start a family, I'd like to join the Big Brother Association. And so I did, and Todd and I were introduced to each other. And it's gone on for 5 decades now. It's pretty good. I also, in my lifetime did other things. I was a volunteer firefighter for 10 years, but nothing has been as rewarding as knowing this guy.
So I've got a question for you, which is a 23-year-old recent college graduate becoming a big seems like a relatively small demographic, right? Because so many 23-year-olds are either working on their career or finding their significant other. But why do you think you decided, as a young married man, to help a little boy out?
Good question. I had sisters. I never had a brother. I enjoyed my fraternity brother relationships. And after college, I think I missed that and thought that a big brother relationship would be a good thing to do and rewarding. So signed up.
Well, thank you for that. So I had the good fortune of becoming a little brother at the age of 13. And, what prompted it was having a really great mom who felt that having a male presence in my life would be beneficial. From my side of the transaction, it was kind of like, you want to take me to a Phillies game, or you want to talk, or you want to hang out? It was kind of about having fun, and maybe, not always hanging around with my mom, right? Being able to have a male to be a mentor was great, but I'm not sure I thought of it in terms of mentorship.
Can I buy a hot dog and a beer? Sure.
He did not buy me beer at the age of 13.
I meant to say Coke.
Yeah, Coke, right.
Now it's beer.
But, I think that for me, the mentorship was kind of masqueraded in fun, right? It was, it would be great for me to go to a Phillies game or go bowling and have a male to hang out with. And it really wasn't until more recently that I thought how important the relationship was in my life.
So thinking back about some of the key moments in our relationship and so forth, one certainly comes to mind. When Todd was a senior in college, he called me up and said, I'm going to be home for the weekend. Can we go out for dinner? Sure. So we did. And he told me that he was going to get engaged. And he asked if that was okay. It's a big moment in my life. At some point, 33 years ago, he called me and asked for help renovating a room in his house to be a nursery. Came over and we scraped wallpaper and painted. And then this summer, I went to that boy's wedding and got asked to sit with the family.
You kind of are family, and you're also a big baby. But you got me crying too. So, it's, back to this sort of notion of masquerading as fun, right? Like when I was a teenager, it didn't occur to me how meaningful our relationship would be. But Jim was in my wedding. He was a groomsman in my wedding. And
everybody else was 10 years younger.
He did look a little old that day.
Sort of stood out.
And then I went to his wedding, and then he came to my son's wedding and sat at the head table with our whole family. So it's been amazing. And, you know, I hadn't thought about asking him his advice about getting married. And I hadn't thought about asking for his help in painting my 32-year-old son's room. But there have been significant moments where I just kind of had to have him by my side. And now I'm crying.
And we knew whatever each of us asked of the other, it would be done.
There haven't been too many no's. I think the thing about being a little that needs a big and being a big is that you get to show what it means to be a leader and what sort of humble mentorship means, right? So watching Jim give of his time to me inspired me to give of my time in other areas of my life. And, you know, when I was a teenager, we just had fun together. But as I got older and sort of asked bigger questions of myself, like, what kind of man do I want to be? What kind of community would I like my children to grow up in? The answers to those questions is I want to be a man like Jim. And I want a community of people that are willing to help others, in part because that would be a fun place to live, but also I wanted to model for my own children and my peers in the community what an honorable, humble, giving life could be. You know, it's kind of cliche to say it's better to give than receive. But there are some amazingly warm feelings about helping somebody else. Do you have any thoughts on that, my friend?
Well, whenever I've been an immediate part of your life, weddings, things like that, it's always, reunited our bond and strengthened it. And that's been very rewarding over the years.
Yeah, I mean, it feels good for you to tell the story about me asking your permission to marry or me asking your help to paint JT's room, right? And so I think the mentor, this has been my experience because I've mentored some, but the mentor gets almost as much as the mentee gets.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Although you still owe me $200 I haven't seen, but we'll talk about that later.
Check's in the mail, buddy.
I'd like people to know that as much as I put into this relationship, I got back. Our bond and friendship has just grown over the years. And I can't think of anybody in my life that I'm closer to. And the reward is just worth the effort.
So my father died when I was 20 months old. And when you grow up without a dad, you don't have sort of the example of what an adult man, how they behave or whatever, or how a husband and wife will behave, because you're just, you're raised by a mom. And I had an awesome mom. But having another older male around to pose questions to was invaluable. We have talked about spirituality. We have talked about careers, what to major in college, whether or not I should get my ear pierced, which he said no, and I did anyway. But as I reflect on being able, having someone that I trust to ask the difficult questions, whether it's I'm thinking about getting married or I'm thinking about whatever, has been just amazing. I would say our relationship right now is characterized by Jim coming to my son's wedding this summer, which was terrific. We try to find time to go to an Eagles game, and we had a win this year, which is terrific. And almost weekly calls, certainly texts. We text all the time.
Yeah.
We just check
Eagles games.
Yes, yes, during Eagles games.
Yeah.
But just what's going on? What are you cooking? And so, you know, it's been great, and I'm looking forward to many years of the same. He's 10 years older than me, so I have aches and pains now. I can ask him about aches and pains, and he explains to me that growing old is not for sissies.
Our relationship is just going to continue as it's been the past many years, and I don't see that being diminished at all. We just enjoy it so much. We get so much out of it.
We have been together in many, many times of joy and celebration. Eagles games, weddings, all that sort of stuff, right? But we've also been together in times of pain. Like Jim came to my mother's funeral, and you know, who knows what the future's gonna bring, but I'm quite confident this is gonna last. You know, on the sort of general subject of mentorship, it's a bit of a cliche that it's more blessed to give and receive and so on and so forth, but I really do think the mentor gets a number of great benefits. You know, one of which is happiness, right? It makes me happy to help other people. And it makes me happy to communicate a worldview which is positive, uplifting, supportive of other people in the community. And, you know, when you meet a guy like Jim, who at the age of 23 decided to do something for a little boy that was 13 and needed an older male influence in his life, you get a taste of goodness or whatever. Like, he was just gave of himself to help me and made an enormous difference in my life.
Although having said that, I think I've gotten as much or more out of this relationship.